What's up, guys? This is Benny Ricciardi with FTN Bets on the FTN Network, bringing you our first look at NFL lines for the conference championship games. So let's start in the NFC. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Green Bay Packers. Tampa Bay was 13-5 on the season, 10-8 against the spread, 10-8 to the over, coming off a 30-20 win over the New Orleans Saints this weekend. They have played Green Bay once this season, and they actually won that game pretty convincingly. It was a 38-10 Tampa Bay win in Week 6 of the season at Tampa Bay. The Green Bay Packers ended up as the number one seed in the NFC, 14-3 record on the year, 11-6 against the spread, 10-7 to the over, and they are coming off a 32-18 win against the Los Angeles Rams. Green Bay at home on the season is 8-1, the only loss being a 28-22 loss to the Minnesota Vikings. The last 4 games that Green Bay has played so far, they've won by an average score of 32-16. So they're putting up over 30 points a game recently, and the defense has played much better, giving up 16 points, only, I think it was 16, 16, 14, and 18 in the last 4 games, for an average of only 16 points per game. When I look at my numbers here, on a neutral field, I actually have Green Bay favored by about 1.5. When you factor in the home field advantage, I get a number of Green Bay -3. Looking at what's being offered here, I really don't like having to give up the hook here. DraftKings has it at -110, but you got to give up the hook. FanDuel has it at -112 when you're giving up the hook. So what the -112 actually means is it's juiced up a little bit from where it should be at -110. Meaning that if they were going to make another move on this game, the move that they would make would be moving the Packers up to -4 at some point. I don't think I'm going to get the 3, which is the number that I really wanted here on the Packers side of it, but I don't want to go and take the Bucs here. So I hate to say it because we only have 2 games left here in a year, and I, try to get you guys the numbers here. But my number for this game is kind of on the market. Like I said, Packers -3. I don't want to take the 3.5 and give up the hook here. At this point in time, I do not have a bet on this game. So now let's move over to the AFC game. We have the Buffalo Bills taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And this one is really interesting. We'll get into all the numbers here. Buffalo is 15-3 on the season. They have 8 straight wins coming into this game, one of the hottest teams in football. They're 12-6 against the spread on the season. Again, over their last 10 games, they're 9-1. So even against the spread, one of the hottest teams in football. On the year, they finished with a record of 10-5-3 to the over. Yes, you heard that right, 10-5-3. They had 3 pushes this year, and for the most part, went over twice as often as they went under with a 10-5 record. They did play Kansas City once on the season. They lost that game 26-17 all the way back in Week 6, and Buffalo is coming off that win over the Ravens in a very highly anticipated game, which punched their ticket to be in this AFC Championship game. The other side of this game is where things get really interesting. Kansas City, 15-2 on the year. They had a loss to the Las Vegas Raiders earlier in the season, and then they lost a Week 16 game that I don't really put too much stock into because they didn't have all their starters out there. I think that was the Chargers that they lost to in Week 16. So for the most part, I mean, this was a team that only had 1 loss during the regular season when they were actively out there trying to win games. They are just 6-10-1 against the spread this year, including a well-publicized 0-8-1 in their last 9 games. Remember, we talked about this last week. The last time Kansas City covered was November 1st against my New York Jets with a game that had a 19-point spread, and they actually covered that one. They have not covered since that New York Jet game. On the season, they are just 8-9 to the over as well. So as good as Kansas City has been this year, they really haven't been all that good for bettors. People who've been back in Kansas City or the over in Kansas City games both ended up with a loss on the season. So just keep that in mind. Listen, we can't talk about Kansas City right now without talking about the most important thing. The elephant in the room, Patrick Mahomes' health status. He went on a scramble last week. It didn't, it wasn't helmet to helmet, but it did look like he got his helmet kind of turned on his head. So maybe there was something there. Everybody was watching it. He went to get up. He was a little woozy, lost his footing, had to go back into the tent, never came back for the end of that game here. The reason I say that that's the elephant in the room is because it's very tough for me to make heads or tails of the spread number without knowing what's going to go on with Patrick Mahomes, if he's going to play, if he's going to not play, if he's going to be 100%. And here's the reason why. Throughout the entire season, I always run my numbers for you guys. And my numbers are based on things that have happened during the year. I'm basically taking all the stats that are out there, plugging them into a formula that I use, and I get, my power rankings, and then I can compare teams that way. Kansas City is the number 1 team in my power rankings. Buffalo is the number 3 team in my power rankings. With Patrick Mahomes as quarterback, I have Kansas City 4.4 points better than the Buffalo Bills. When you factor in home field advantage, my number with a healthy Patrick Mahomes would be more like Kansas City -6. How important is Patrick Mahomes to Kansas City? Well, I have Patrick Mahomes as my number 1 quarterback in my power rankings, slightly ahead of Aaron Rodgers. I think that both guys are worth more than a touchdown to their team. With Mahomes, my number actually comes in at about 9 points. So I have Patrick Mahomes as the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, being 9 points better than his backup if his backup happens to play. So if I think that Kansas City should be favored by 6 with a healthy Mahomes, I think Buffalo should be favored by 3 if Mahomes doesn't play in this game. That's a really big swing to go from Kansas City -6 to Buffalo +3, depending on the health of one player. But my rankings are very skewed to passing efficiency and passing accuracy and, what you can do in the passing game, because that has proven to be one of the things that has the most effect on the outcome of who wins or loses a football game. So with Mahomes in, Chiefs -6. With Mahomes out, Bills -3. When you look at the number that Vegas has, it almost kind of looks like they are splitting the difference here with Chiefs -2.5. If Patrick Mahomes plays Chiefs -2.5, I would be all over that number. That is such a good number if Patrick Mahomes is playing. If Patrick Mahomes is not playing, though, Buffalo at +134 on FanDuel would be the way that I want to play this game right here. I'm not even messing with the spread here. If Patrick Mahomes doesn't play, I would think Buffalo should be favored here. And that's why I would want to take the Buffalo money line. So I do these videos on Sunday night. It's Monday morning. I'm trying to get this out to you guys here. I have zero idea what the status of Patrick Mahomes could be. And that's why I'm telling you guys which way I would play it, depending on which way he winds up playing. Because he is that important to the team and would change things that much if he's not in. Just look at that other game. When they were winning against Cleveland before Mahomes went out, I don't think anybody really thought the Browns were going to win that game. People were like, oh, maybe they'll be able to cover, but, the Chiefs have this pretty well in hand. As soon as he went out, they were up 2 scores, and people were like, oh, my God, the Browns are going to come back and win this game right now. And that's how important he is. Buffalo has been even hotter and even better than the Cleveland Browns have been. This is not a game you want to go into 4 quarters without Patrick Mahomes and think that the Chiefs are going to be favored to win this game. They shouldn't be. Without Mahomes, they are not going to be favored to win this game. They shouldn't be favored to win this game. And I would be shocked if they do win this game. So that's how important Patrick Mahomes being there is. Now, if Mahomes is 100% healthy, absolutely I'm taking less than a field goal on the Chiefs here. That -122 at 2.5 on DraftKings, I will pound that number all day long if Patrick Mahomes is going to be playing and he's going to be healthy and he's going to be good to go. So really at this point, the most important thing for us is the status of Patrick Mahomes, because that's going to depend on which way we go with this game. Right now, I think this number is kind of a midpoint here. And depending on what the status is, I think it's going to move one way or another.